Don't try carrying your thoughts with you. They're heavy, especially when they are loaded with emotions, emotional memories that have such a powerful impact to them emotionally. After all, what are habits? Habits are not things that you just, you know, have like paintings hanging on the wall. They're just there. They have a significance, and they involve you doing something with them in order for them to be sustained. Your thoughts could be about someone else, other people, the world, this, that, but it requires tremendous energy from you. A thought requires a lot of energy from you for you to go ahead and sustain it. If you ever played trumpet, a musical instrument like that, like a wind instrument, and you're supposed to maintain that note, or a violin, maintaining that note through several measures, what does that do? What does that require, rather? It requires consistency. It requires energy from you to continue doing that, maintaining that note. The note here would be a reference for your thoughts. And usually, if you have thousands and thousands of thoughts, as the research says, and most of those thousands, I think they were saying 65,000 thoughts on average that an adult human being has in a day, and out of those 65,000, roughly, thoughts, over 90% are negative thoughts. And out of those 90%, 90% of those are impossibilities, implausible. No way for them to be happening. In reality. Nevertheless, the person maintaining the thought still bears the heaviness, the burden, the pain. What Lord Buddha talks about as dukkha continues to be inflicted upon yourself. But guess what we do? We look at something else, someone else, even if it is our body. Oh, I don't look good. Oh, why does my body have to be this? My brain, my eyes, my this, my parents, my mother, my father, the society I grew up in. You name it, you fill the blanks. Thoughts are being carried by us. And that's why it feels strange when you sit in meditation and with consistency and under the guidance of a good teacher, you get to a point, following a good system, what Lord Buddha calls samma samadhi, right, collectedness of mind. Suddenly, you get to taste freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from the anxiety, the pressures. Of what? The pressures that were inflicted and constantly being inflicted upon you by no one other than you carrying the burden, the heaviness of thoughts. Thoughts have a weight to them, you know? But to us, it's completely illogical. It totally doesn't make sense. Hence, we point the finger away from us to that thing over there, to that person over there, to that whatever is going on over there. That's why wisdom does not require the demolishing of something else, the destruction of someone else, a structure, a building, a society, a group of people, another person. That is not wisdom. Wisdom is brought forth from within. So when dukkha is self-inflicted, in a sense, panya or wisdom is also, in a good way though, self-inflicted. But how many of us are able to actually create that possibility, that opening for us? Just that question mark to be raised. What is my relationship to these thoughts? Instead of fighting with you outside of me, why don't I take a gander, a look at my relationship with these thoughts that keep coming up and keep agitating the mind? As I was telling someone the other day, agitation is poison number one within you. All that's happening in the world today and has been happening around the world for, well, non-stop, let's say, for ages and ages. What keeps us in samsara, in the cycle of rebirth, of going and coming back and going and coming back, and then reliving all these different experiences of pain, sorrow, lamentation, grief, despair, anguish, hurt, misery, all that is a vicious cycle because it keeps us in the agitation cycle. The mind and the heart are always being agitated. And so long as your heart or your mind is being agitated, it is impossible for you to experience peace. Now, modern technology, pharmaceutical companies, they never run out of things to create and say, hey, try this. Yeah, we were working on this. Some of our chemical engineers were fooling around with this, and we came up with this. Let's see if this works on you for this. Oops, it didn't work. Okay, let's try a slew of other things until something happens in you to dissipate that sense of anguish. But at the cost of what? So I know I'm trying to address several different themes here. But it is the anguish that we see, we feel in the world today, everywhere. A depression, what is that? They have normalized it. Before that, it was stress. Some marketing agents who came up with these words, I think it was in Canada a few decades ago, to naturalize, to normalize stress. Oh, I'm just stressed. These words did not exist in the English language, People, of course, have been struggling for ages, but it's just part of life. And then you have all these diagnoses over time that it has become, they've become part of the lexicon. Oh, I have ADHD. Oh, I have this. I have that. I have this. It's anything that you could say to kind of make that state of agitated heart or agitated mind turn your heart into its permanent residency. And then you go ahead and you say, well, I just have to take this medicine. And then we just continue on this cycle. We just added another layer of dukkha on top of the already existent dukkha that one has to go through within samsara. This is not just something that's Buddhist related, by the way. This is something everyone's going through. So the agitation in the mind, in the heart, the main cause for sorrow, for depression, has everything to do with your latching on to some state, some thought, some feeling, and then you attach your perception to that, your memories to that, and all of a sudden you have a nice basket of things to carry around, in which the more baskets you have, we call many, many people call that as part of your personality, your characteristics. Meanwhile, it has nothing to do with them. All you have to do is just take a deep breath and anchor yourself in the present, whether by feeling the bottom of your feet or the edges of your nostrils. Smile to yourself in this moment. Smile. Opening your eyes, looking at something even so mundane, and trying to see something fresh in it. And then seeing how during that moment, you just drop back into the present. During that moment, something wonderful happened, something amazing happened. You put down the basket. You put down the load, the heavy load of your thoughts. This is what happened to me. This is, what you've done to me. This is. You just made room for the present to flow into every single part of you. And guess what? You also did something else. Interestingly enough, the level of agitation in the mind, in the heart, was reduced, decreased. Your heart rate changed. And many wonderful things started to happen. Why or how? Because you chose to not follow that self-inflicting pattern even for that instant. That's already enough. If you have right mindfulness or sati, you will be able to see these tiny little moments. Instead of continuing on writing this life story of yours, which keeps changing, by the way. So, stop carrying your thoughts around. As some of my teachers used to say, at the end of certain sentences, it's embarrassing. Stop doing this to yourself. Be kind. Be kind to yourself.